Hey there, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the Grey House Educational Videos. I thought that I'd bring in a little information from a recent workshop that I did about marketing, and I think it was really important that I bring this up because I think it was about a 50-50 split. About 50% of the people really figured it out, and the other 50, I think, we're still looking for what we've got right here, looking for that magic bullet for marketing their books. And I think that this is something I want you to really, really think of. There is no magic bullet for marketing. You're not going to find a website that says, type in your book and it'll tell you who to market it to and how you should market your book. You have to use your brain. Now, this is what I told the people in the workshop. You had the critical thinking skills to write a novel. Use those same critical thinking skills when you're doing your marketing. This is something that every person in the advertising industry does. Okay. And we'll talk about this a little bit later here in this presentation. But if you think about this, right, an advertising team sits down and says, okay, we got this coffee cup. How do we sell this? Brand new coffee cup. How do we sell this? So they have to think, okay, who'd want to buy the book? What are they interested in? How do we find the best approach? That's what those people do in the advertising community. And guess what? There's no difference. You get to do that too now that you're an author. So let's take a look at this. Let's start with our first definition of what market research really is. Look at what it says. If you are doing market research for your book, it is the action or the activity of gathering information about the consumer's needs and preferences. And that one's really important. Your consumers are your readers. Not every reader out there, your readers. And they have specific needs. When they read your book, they have a need to see certain things in your book, not what you want, what they want. And they also have certain preferences. Your readers, maybe many of your readers are people who say, I don't like digital books. End of story. I want to have a book in my hand. Okay, that's their preference. So if you want to increase your sales, you have to truthfully, going right down here, you have to meet their needs and their preferences. Their needs, not yours. And I'm going to stress that again. They are their needs and their preferences. You've got to be able to meet that. So, how do we do that? Well, let's move on and take a look at some of the common problems that people have. First of all, when it comes to marketing, people don't take the time to do any of the research. They just sit there, they write a book, and they start marketing. But they don't bother to research and figure out really, truthfully, what is it that the people want. They're also making assumptions about their readers. Okay, and if you take a look at some of these bottom points that I've got right down here, right, these bottom points that they make assumptions. Well, um, everybody likes to, oh, here's a good one. And I brought this one up in the conference. COVID is on the mind of everybody, so everybody wants to learn about it. No, no, there's a lot of people who want to read a book to not read about it. So you want to take a look at that. But you make assumptions about your readers. You are assuming that, readers who came out of the military all want to read military history because you do. So they do. That's not it. The next one is you don't really know what your own personal genre is. And that one, I pound that over on my blog all the time. You have to know exactly what genre you write. Do you write women's fiction or do you write romance? Right? Each of those determines a different pathway you're going to take. You cannot pick multiple genres. Okay? Even if you're sort of a cross genre, it's still going to be one more than another. Okay, so one more than another. So if you think about like Diana Gabaldon's Outlander series, it's sort of paranormal with the time travel piece, but it's mostly historical fiction. So where does it end up at? It ends up in the historical fiction market. The historical fiction may be the cross into the romance, but generally it's the historical fiction. That's where you're going to find it. Is there the paranormal twist? Yeah, but they spend more time with the historical. You're also trying to reach too many people, and this goes back to not knowing your genre. You think your book meets everybody's needs, so you want to try to market to every single person. It's not going to work that way. And then again, not aligning that data with what the people want. So if your character crochets, you don't just say, well, there's a lot of people who love crocheting, so therefore I'm going to market to them. Look, the people who crochet might not be reading those type of books. You got to talk about the person, and that's what it is. No one's written a book about this, so therefore my book's got definite marketing potential. Look, I hate to break this to you. If nobody's written a book like your genre, it could be nobody wants it too. And then the last part is a common problem is you start using things that your critique partners, that your friends have used. Okay, so what you're going to notice in this talk right here is that I'm not going to give you one specific approach. I'm going to throw out a bunch of ideas as we're going, but I'm not going to give you one approach because what works for out of all my clients, what works for one author is not going to work for another author because of their readers. And you got to remember that. You can find the things that match you perfectly. So how do we do this? This is really easy. We're going to go through and you're going to think about who your readers are. Okay, who your readers truthfully are. And it's going to be based on the type of book. So you have to sit there and think, okay, my book is about X. What is the gender, the predominant gender of people who are going to be reading that book? So if we talk about like the romance genre, the predominant gender reading this book will be women. That's what it's going to be. We know that. Okay, we know that from the buying trends and things like that. Now, are the guys who read it? Yeah. Okay, what's the predominant age of people reading those books? Predominant age. That's going to be the key thing. So if I'm writing, we'll go back to our romance one. If I'm writing, say, a women's fiction piece about a woman who's, say, 50 years old, all the kids are now out of the house, and she's trying to figure out her life, who's likely going to read that? Look, it's not going to be your millennials. They don't want to read about 50-year-old women, so it's not going to be them. It's going to be people who can identify with that age group. So we're going to say if they're 50 leaving the house, it's going to probably be anywhere between the 40s and the 60 age group range. That's what you're going to get. What other books do they read? This one's a really easy one. If you think your book is similar to, it doesn't matter, Susan Elizabeth Phillips, and you're going to say that's who it's closely related to, go to Amazon, click on a Susan Elizabeth Phillips book, go down to the bottom and see what other things are these people reading. And that's going to give you kind of a trend. What about the region or the country? If you write regional literature, regional writing, there's a lot of people up in the Pacific Northwest who love to just write about little small hometowns up in the San Juan Islands. That's going to create kind of that personality of who you want to be marketing those things to. What about their values and the traits? Again, this is one of those things. What do these people value? Okay, so if you've got an older clientele, they're going to value certain things. They're going to want to know those values and traits are going to shape the way that they buy things, the way that they read things, the way that they see things. Think about the media used and the social media that they're using. That one's really kind of an interesting one. And a lot of people are like, oh, I can use everything. I want you to really think here. Think carefully about this one. When you are watching various different TV shows, okay, so if you're not streaming things where you're getting no commercials, if you're going to the regular television shows and you're watching, say, that block of news time hours between, say, 4 o'clock and 6:30, 7 o'clock, and if, say, you're on CNN, you tell me the commercials you're going to see. During that time, the commercials you're going to see are not going to be fast food type of things. They're going to be things about medicine, insurance, whatever that might be. They know their market. They know who's going to be watching that TV at that time. That's why they want that prime market. You think about Super Bowl ads. What do you see? Car ads, beer ads, food ads. Those are going to be your three big ones that you're going to see. Why? Because guess what? You're going to have a lot of guys watching it, a lot of people wanting to eat food. That's going to be the major market. So I want you to think about that. Again, think about even the age group, right? TikTok's going haywire right now. Everybody wants to use TikTok. But look, your 50, 60-year-old people don't give a rip about TikTok. They may be over on Facebook. But even if they're on Facebook, the odds are they probably just are talking to their friends on Facebook. They don't know how to use the research to try to find new things. They might not even have a clue of how to use Marketplace on Facebook, something that's pretty simple, we would think. But for them, that's not it. What about their educational level? Now, I know that might seem like something different, but it's going to determine the way you word things in your presentations, how you put that material out. What about their shopping trends? Where do they shop? That's going to be a big one. Okay, so if you know your clientele is always shopping at places like the Walmarts and the Fred Meyers and the Krogers and things like that, that's the place that you want to make sure that your books are located. That's where you want to make sure that they're at. But if your people are always, your clientele is always buying things at the used bookstore, then you want to make sure that you're kissing up to the used bookstore people to get your books there. Okay. What shelves do you put your book on? Again, that goes back to knowing your genre. And it says, what type of books do you write and what type of books and other authors do they read? So again, that's going back to that Amazon link. Really take a look at that. Now, once you've got all of that information, once you kind of make a list, and it's going to take a while for you to really think this one through. You have to think like the reader. That's what we're doing. You think. Use your brain. Think like your reader. What does your reader think about each of those items? Who are those people? How would they likely purchase your book? What would they want to see in an ad? Once you figure that piece out, that alone starts to shape how you are going to put together your presentation. Again, it's not going to be a button. Okay, I had all these people who were thinking, well, can I go to a company and a company will tell me what to do? Yeah, you can invest in a company, and you know what they're going to do? They're going to shove it in an algorithm, and they're going to say, people who read women's fiction, this is their clientele. Guess what? That doesn't mean your book fits that way. Okay, women's fiction ranges everything from millennial rom-coms all the way up to older women like 60s and 70s learning to deal with death, right? That's all women's fiction pieces, right? So, yeah, can you pay a company to do all of this stuff? Yeah, but you can also use your brain. If you go through that chart that we just talked about, use that chart, think about all those ideas, and use your brain, and then just say, okay, how are they going to do this? Right? If you're on Facebook and you're saying everybody uses Facebook, hey, ask your kids. They're not going to use Facebook. They're going to use other means to get that information across. They want to see it in their format. So that's what you need to do. Okay, so I want you to consider those things. Really definitely look at that prior slide, maybe go back, take a screenshot of that, whatever that might be you want to use. But I want you to really truthfully think about this because that's going to help you out a lot. Okay, as always, I want you to remember, if this information is helping you out and getting you to think a different way, I want you to make sure you like this video. Definitely share this video with other people. If you've got people who are in the middle of marketing things and you want to kind of help them out, please share this video with people. If you like this, make sure that you subscribe to the channel itself. As always, I've been promising that if I can get 1,000 subscribers, and I know that still seems like it's a lot, it's a way out there, but once we hit that 1,000 subscriber, one of the subscribers will get a 6-month mentorship. So that's why I say share this with other people, get other people to like this, increase those numbers, we'll get to giving somebody that 6-month mentorship. Remember also, I am on social media and a lot of other places. So I am on Facebook. If you just look up Gray House Literary Agency, you'll find me there. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on the blog. I have my own blog. All of those links can be found on the website at www.grayhouseagency.com. And please, if you want to submit to me, I am more than happy. I'm always looking for things. Please remember, I only accept romance and women's fiction, and that's traditional romance and women's fiction. But if you plan on submitting, please go to the website, look at those submission guidelines, figure out what it is that I'm looking for. And if you see something on there that says, ooh, Scott doesn't like it, guess what? I won't like it. Okay, so make sure you do that. Follow those directions, and remember Ray Bradbury's lines. You only fail if you stop writing. So please just keep on writing. We'll talk to you soon, and we will see you back out here on our next video when I come up with an idea. We'll talk to you. Bye-bye.